get this thing rolling. So today you got me, Sleep. You got V.
What's up?
And over in the corner we have Miss Leslie Lovelace.
Yeah.
Welcome to the basement. Welcome to the basement. Welcome
to much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We are so excited to have you. Really, I really appreciate you reaching out to us, because I don't want people to think that we are just one type of podcast. I want to get all types of stories, not just entrepreneurs, but the story that she's about to tell. We about to find out about Miss Leslie Lovelace. And it's her 14-year anniversary brain tumor survivor. Yeah! Give us some, like, that's me.
I wish we had some balloons and confetti.
That would have been, she like, I felt it. On the inside, that would have been a great idea. We really should have had that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's
I felt
awesome.
that. I feel the love in the room.
Oh,
Yes,
of course.
ma'am.
So, yes, thank you very much. I appreciate that, y'all.
No problem. So for those who don't know you, where are you from?
I am actually born and raised here in Dayton, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
I am a Patterson Co-op, the best high school.
Okay,
Go ahead on, Beaver.
Yes, Beaver till I die. Then
Yes,
I also am an alumni of Central State University.
Awesome.
We got two on here. Hello.
All right.
See, we're sisters already.
Sisters, honey. Yes.
So what was it like growing up in Dayton, Ohio?
Oh, it was amazing. I've always loved my city. I'm sold out for Dayton. Now, I didn't grow my family up in Dayton. I actually moved to Georgia in '99, so I was there for 20 years. But growing up as a child, I mean, I had the best childhood. We lived on the west side of Dayton. I lived right on Tampa Avenue, down by the Soda Bass, down the street. And my dad was a community activist. You know, he's a city commissioner.
What was your dad's name? If you don't mind?
Dean Lovelace was.
That's your dad.
Okay, shout out.
My daddy.
Yes, I love Dean. Yeah.
And so he always had us heavily involved in the community, always dragging me around everywhere. Because I'm 8 years older than my sister and 12 years older than my brother. So they were like non-factors to me. I was like, why are they here? I wanted a sister that was my age, you know. So so I had an amazing childhood. You know, I've had an amazing life. Actually, I've been really blessed. I've got an amazing family, amazing friends, good support system. So all of this happening to me, this brain tumor, is just proof that, you know, God placed all these, you know, placed me in this situation and allowed me to go through this not alone. So
Yes. Because a good support system is very important at times like that. You know what I'm saying?
During my journey, you know, like having this, I used to be a part of a support group for brain tumor survivors, and the particular one that I had, which I'll tell you about in a second, but a lot of those people don't have any support. You know, they don't have the families and friendships that I had to kind of just listen to them or wait this out with them, because it's challenging dealing with this. So in 2009, I found out that I had a brain tumor. It's called an acoustic neuroma, and that tumor was on my facial and auditory nerve. Now, why does a tumor do that? I have no idea, but that's what happened. And I had just turned 40, so I was in you know, in the time of my life where I had something planned that whole year. Like every 40 days, I had a calendar of events that I had mailed out to family and friends, and I was, you know, gonna just enjoy my whole entire year. But this certainly put a damper in it. Like it just.
What made you think that something was wrong? You know, what was going on with you that made you initially say something ain't right?
Something's going on. Well, actually, there were two things that happened. So the first thing was I would put my cell phone up to my ear and I could barely hear. And I would always have to switch it to my left ear. So I was like, what's that about? And so I went to the ear, nose, and throat specialist. That's what my family practitioner advised. And they said, oh, you just have a sinus infection, you know. She spent all of 10 minutes with me and was like, yeah, you just probably have a sinus infection, you know. So I was like, okay. You know, they always want to throw medicine at you. Yeah. So then I had a family trip planned for, you know, my son who was turning 8, and we went to, actually, was that my daughter? Oh, Lord, I can't remember. He's 8 years younger than my daughter, so I think we took him to Disney World, and when we went, that was like in February. There was something going on with my eye, and I was like, sister, you know, can you see, you know, anything in my eye? Like, it just felt like I had a wood chip in it. Like, that's how painful it was. And so I was getting drops and just kind of just doing that, but nothing was working. So then when I returned from my trip, I'm sitting at my desk at work, and I looked in the mirror, and my eye wouldn't blink. So I was like, that's what's wrong with my eye. I got all excited, like, I know what's happening. My eye won't blink. It's just dried out. But then why is it doing that?
Right.
So then I went to
That's scary.
It is scary because I was like, you know, I literally having to shut it down to make it go. So then I went to my eye doctor, and he said, I don't see anything wrong with your eye. You know, did his little test, and he said, but I want you to see a neurologist. You know, because that's weird. Like, I've never seen this. So he sent me to the neurologist, and at the time I wasn't processing. Like, everything just was like no big deal. Like, okay, what they gonna find out? Like, what's happening?
Right.
So I go to the neurologist, and he immediately diagnosed me with Bell's palsy. Have you guys seen Bell's palsy in people?
No, ma'am. What's that?
It's a droop. It's like a little droop in your face. So sometimes it looks almost like this, which is why people ask me often if I had a stroke or if I have Bell's palsy. Okay. So I was like, no, but Bell's palsy usually should be treated with steroid, and then it'll go back. I have no idea. I guess it's something in the brain that just causes your, like, a light droop and everything. But he said, but it really does. He said, I really want to be 100% sure. Let's get you an MRI. And he said, I want you to do the one with the dye in it, though, you know, so we can see your whole brain. Right. And so I said, okay, should I be worried? He said, probably not. You probably have Bell's palsy. I'm going to give you this steroid. Anyway, I said, don't those make you fat?
Right, yeah.
I was like, can I just wait until I find out what it is? You know, he was like, yeah, if you want. So go to the neurologist, do my MRI, and then I guess about, I can't remember how many days later, he called me into his office, and he shut out all the lights, and he said, this is your brain, and this is a tumor on your brain, this little tumor right here. And so then all of a sudden I was like, now what are you saying? I was like, so I'm gonna die? You know, like, I said, is this cancer? He was like, no. He said, it's benign. He said, it's a slow growing tumor. He said, and it's not life threatening, but you should probably have surgery right away. So I was like, so it's not life threatening, but I need to have surgery right away. Like,
right, that doesn't make sense.
Like, okay, and I said, no, you're supposed to tell me like this because I don't have nobody here with me. Like, I really feel weak right now. Like, I'm not understanding what's happening. Why does this happen? He told me most times Caucasian people get this tumor that I had. He said it's an acoustic neuroma that lies on the auditory and facial nerve. And he said it was like the size, at the time, it was like the size of a strawberry. So
that's pretty big. Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, you need to go ahead, and he said, it's too late for you to do radiation. You're going to have to do brain surgery. I said, somebody gonna have to cut in my head?
And that's messed up because you were already going to the doctor trying to figure out what was going on with, you know what I'm saying, with your eye and then your ear, and they misdiagnosed, that's so crazy. A lot of doctors do that.
They do, and that's why it's so important for us to know that something's not right. You know, you don't have to settle for a doctor saying you're fine.
Get a second opinion.
Feel fine. Because when I think back on it, you know, some years before, I had been dealing with vertigo often. And so every time I would go, they would just give me some medicine and say, stay out of work for a couple of days and you'll be okay. But why am I getting vertigo?
And it was probably going on then.
This little tumor growing up in my head that was causing me to have balance issues, you know. So in retrospect, when I think about it, if I had gotten it checked out then, I might have been able to go through radiation and be saved from all this drama that I'm going through in my life. So
I got another question. So before you found out like you had the tumor, were you like having a lot of stress in your life? Did they say like what caused it? Was it like habits, like bad eating? You know how they say sometimes like the food you eat can cause stuff like that. Was that a case with you?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I was in an amazing place in my life. You know, I had bought my home, living out in Covington with my 2 children. I'm a single mom, and I was doing pretty well, you know, in my finances. Had a good job, you know, and then just excited about being 40 and just starting a new chapter in my life, you know, like, okay, let's see what 40s are going to be like, because 30s were great. So let's see what 40s are going to be like. You know, just excited about everything. My daughter was going to be graduating the next year from high school and going to college. So it's just a lot of good things happening in my life. And then at the time, I was very... I was spiritually grounded. I had a great church home, good friends. I was a part of a leadership team. So I was real active in my church, and just things seemed kind of great, except no husband, no relationship, you know. But things were good. I was happy. So, and I exercised. So I was taking good care of myself. So yeah, things were good. So that I don't know that had anything to do with it.
Okay.
And I said God just, you know, he has a sense of humor sometimes.
Yes, he does.
Sometimes he just he throws us a curveball, and you know.
Man, listen,
just to show us that we are a lot stronger than we give ourselves credit for.
That's exactly what he's doing. And even though my journey is, you know, like it's taken me a little longer than it probably should, because I'm so spoiled by God, you know, like my relationship with him is precious. And I don't mind anybody judging me on how I deal with God, because he deals with me.
Right.
But I throw tantrums just like I do with my earthly dad. Like I get so upset and mad and be like, okay, I'm not talking to you for, you know, some days or months. I don't know. Like, just, you know, because I know God can fix this.
Yes.
Like, he can just think it and this will be done. I'm like, why am I having to go through this still, though? Like, why haven't you done it? Because I have the faith of a mustard seed, you know. So I've got it. Like, I love you. He knows my heart. So I'm like, why am I going through this? That's been my biggest thing, is why do I have to go through this?
But you know what? Sometimes, you know, not all the time while you're going through it, but after you've come through the hardest part, you look back and you be like, things that you learn during that process. You know, you'll see things that used to seem so important, that used to stress you out and all that kind of stuff, they don't matter no more.
It doesn't. I see everybody different. I look at life different.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been an open book. Like, I believe transparency is important, and in the Black community, we are afraid to talk and let people know that we've got problems. We don't want people to see us as flawed in that kind of way,
broken. Yeah.
So, she's got son with mental illness, or they're dealing with drugs,
we all dealing with mental illness.
There's all these things that we don't talk about, but see, we have to talk about it in order to get some resource or help.
Right.
Like, you might know somebody that I can go talk to. Maybe you see me. Maybe I tell you, I can't stand myself. I got a therapist you can talk to. I know this, or so it's so important to talk, and that's why I'm always transparent about, if you want to know it, I'm gonna tell it to you.
Yes.
Even my parents did not enjoy me doing that. Like, why are you telling us all this? Because I guess that's my therapy.
Yeah, and you gotta get it out. Yeah, you gotta get it out.
I don't bottle. I don't keep things inside. I gotta let it go.
Yeah. That's kind of me too.
And I had a question. From what was the time span between your first doctor's visit until they figured it out?
I think that I went to I think that it was probably in 2008 when I started having the problems with my ear. And so I went like probably before the new year. And then January I turned 40, went on a little birthday trip. And then my son's birthday was in February, which is when I came back with the eye stuff. So then probably not even, I think by February, the end of February or so, that's when I was diagnosed. Yeah, because my surgery was in June. So, but if I really want to be, honest, I really think the vertigo was a sign, and that had been years, like 3 or 4 years of that.
Oh yeah, man, that is.
It kind of goes to the disparity of how we receive treatment and our other Caucasian counterparts or people with money. It's so sad that you went to one doctor and they tell you one thing and then you go to another, because that was the same with me. I went to a doctor, and he was just gonna watch and wait. Then I told a white lady what the doctor said, and she was like, "Oh, I've never heard of such," because she's never had a doctor tell her that.
Exactly.
And she said, "Oh, you need to go somewhere else where you're treated human." Well, okay, I'm gonna follow your advice.
Right.
Exactly.
And I went up there to Ohio State, and praise God, thank God, I'm free now.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'd have been
right.
sitting here. I wouldn't even be on the podcast.
Right.
Exactly. We don't know what your fate would have been had
Right.
you not been persistent.
Yeah.
That's important.
So everybody, go to the doctor and don't accept the first. If you know something's wrong.
Yeah, you know your body.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't be accepting that first thing.
Yeah, but doctors try to act like you don't know your body, because I dealt with that with a doctor too. Every time I was trying to tell him, like, I know how I'm supposed to feel, he would make me seem like I was tripping. And then when I would go get other tests, it would come out like, yes, this is going on. Like, I had an ulcer, so it was like I was going through anemia, bad stomach pains, bad headaches and stuff, because it was leaking. So it was like, if I wouldn't have kept being persistent about, hey man, something really going on with my stomach, man. I ain't never had no stomach aches like this before.
Right.
I wouldn't have known.
A lot of times they act like you looking to get pain pills or something, like you gonna.
Yeah,
everybody ain't
really
drug addicts. We just trying to get well.
Right.
I know how I'm supposed to feel, and
Right.
I'm not supposed to be in pain every day.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. You gotta know yourself, and you gotta be your biggest advocate. You gotta do it.
So what treatment? What was your treatment like?
My brain surgery was June the 25th, and it was 9 hours of brain surgery.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they couldn't remove it all because it would have made this worse. Imagine this just being stretched up here. So they stopped and left the remnant of it behind to do radiation on. So,
do they have you awake during that? Because I've heard like when they do operations on your brain, a lot of times they keep you awake. So,
yeah, I guess it just kind of depends on what your situation is. But for me, no.
Okay.
But they did have some kind of tools or instruments to kind of radar how my face was reacting to them removing the tumor. So. Okay. Yeah, all I remember is, can I pray with my doctors when we get in the surgery room? And they were like, sure. And so I said to the anesthesiologist, like, is that what it is? The people that
yeah.
He was like, what kind of cocktail you want? I said, give me something islandy. And he was like, coming right up. And then the next thing I know, I was waking up to Michael Jackson being dead, and I started losing my mind. I was like, what? Michael Jackson is dead? I started crying. The nurse was like, oh no, it's a rumor. It's just a rumor, honey. Don't worry. She was like, just rest. Because I was like, why? Where am I? I said, I can get to pray with my doctor.
Right.
You worried about Michael Jackson, girl.
I was devastated.
That means you was okay.
Morning. I was like, I said, they lied to me. I saw the news. I said, oh my God, he really is dead. They lied to me, and I was devastated.
I know.
Michael was my boy.
But you were so grateful that God kept you here.
I was grateful.
Yes.
I was, but I saw my face and instantly was like, oh my goodness. But then I said, you know what? God is going to fix this,
Yes.
I believe.
You're beautiful.
Yes, you are.
You are.
To change this thing. So I was like, I'm good. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. But I ended up catching an infection that no one ever gets, they say.
You would be the one to get all these exceptions.
Right. So I was in the hospital. They wanted me to stay I think my original stay was like 2 or 3 days. And then what they, said they couldn't release me because of this infection. So they were like, well, we can put a stent in your arm if somebody can, help put the medicine in every day. And my mother came into town to care for me. So I said, Mom, can you please do this? I just want to go home. And she was like, okay, I can try. Mm-hmm. But that was a story in itself, honey. Like when I tell you, my mother, I had a nurse that lived next door to me, so she came and helped my mother out. Thank God.
Another blessing.
It's just a blessing. See? I'm telling you, I was surrounded.
God is good.
By love, for real. And I was home, and I stayed home, and the things that happened to me were I did have some balance issues, so I had to do therapy for that. I was always falling. I did have to kind of learn how to write again because my handwriting was just crazy. I was like, oh no, I can't. I don't know what to do. It's not doing right. So we do that. And then I ended up having to get a gold weight in my eye to help close it. So it still doesn't blink as often. And this is the one thing right here. This is number 2. This eyeball, I just want to leave her at home a lot because she just gets on my nerves. And I tell you, I'm in pain so much because my eye is dry. But when I use drops, it feels like, water on a grease, like sizzle. And then those lubricant, the gel kind, they make me feel like I have something lodged in my eye all day.
Yeah, I don't like that gel.
It's just a no-win. Like I can't find a good solution for it. I just be like, goodness, Lord, why? Just always asking him, why? Why me? Why I gotta have? Can't you just at least take the eye pain away?
It's gonna happen one day. It's gonna happen.
I've learned that he chooses people that he know can handle it.
Now I agree.
And be gracious about it, and still acknowledge His goodness in it.
Oh, yes. God is amazing. Now, listen, don't ever think that I'm not grateful. A lot of times people will think that I'm not, because I try not to complain like I used to. Like I went through some stages, y'all. Like after this happened, I just was walking like, God's gonna fix this. I'm gonna be okay. But by the time I go back to work, this is all gonna be fixed. I mean, I had to wear sunglasses because the sun was like kryptonite, and sometimes it still is. Like I can't be out there. The heat, any kind of weather, just the elements just mess with my eye. I had to, most of the time I had to drink out of a straw because, it's just dripping stuff all over me. There's no sensation on this side of my face, so I'm sitting lodged with food all on my face at a restaurant, and people are looking at me like, nobody's telling me I got food on my face. I'm like, gosh, so now I'm always in the mirror, looking at the phone, making sure that in between bites, I'm doing stuff. But when God I'm healed. When He didn't restore me in the timing that I was thinking, I started acting a fool. I
was just about to ask you, how did you deal with it mentally?
Oh my goodness. I was good until I wasn't. Like I was like, God, you leaving me like this? I don't have a husband, I don't have everything I want yet. Okay, so what we gonna do, God? Like, how's this out? You gonna work this out? What I gotta do? Am I not being obedient? Am I not listening? So I start wowing out, like just getting on my nerves, getting on my friends' nerves, just everything was negative, a complaint, just bull. I mean, I would be in the department stores trying to find something to wear and see somebody staring at me and be like, what are you looking at? Like, don't look at me like that. Like, I hate it.
People can be very cruel.
Yes, well, and that's what I found, like, I was being cruel. I mean, I was just being over the top, just wanted to be mean and nasty because I was.
Well, you were adjusting.
I was just mad. I was just like, God.
I understand that. Believe
goodness.
You.
I was just like, I don't want to be like this. So I mean, my daughter's getting ready to graduate. My son's in school. Like his friends looking at me. Everywhere I go, I'm being stared at, double take. Nobody wants to stare at me. I'm like, this sucks. But it took this little girl in the grocery store to turn me around. She came up to me and she said, what happened to your face? And I said, let's see, how can I explain to this little 6-year-old? I said, do you know what a sore is? I said, I had a sore on my brain. I said, you know where your brain is? And she's like, yeah. And I said, I had a sore on my brain, and when they removed it, it made my face droop. And she said, oh, okay. And then she did this crooked smile and skipped off. And when I tell you, I laughed and cried all at the same time because it's the innocence of a child. Like, she didn't care.
She didn't
see.
I ain't gonna lie, I almost just started crying. That was such right there. Yeah, that almost. Oh Lord, give me a tissue. Lord, that almost made me cry.
I know, kids.
Yes, like, I cannot with you, little girl. She was so, and then she just twisted her little face and was like, oh, I can do that too, and just
and nothing was wrong.
Nothing was wrong. So I was like, I'm okay, God. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. And so for a little while I'd be okay, and then if I go out with friends and no guy would ask me to dance or they wouldn't buy me a drink, I'm like, I get into my little pity party again, like, now God, this ain't what I want. And see, I'm a lover of relationships. And I had a lot, but ones I've had have been okay, just not the ones that are sustainable, I guess. And so I like to have sex. I want to. She
said, "Let me just be real with you."
Be real.
I just want to. I'm just like, goodness.
You're in the prime of your life,
right? Yeah.
I'm just drive, and I'm like, what's happening? What am I gonna do? So my relationships over the past few years have been with friends, people that already knew me that just think I'm great. And I've been seeing a guy on and off for the past 4 years. You know, we're on, but he doesn't want the same things that I want, so it doesn't work.